Okay. Call to order the meeting of the Water and Sewer Commission for July 16th, 2020. I need to read the following to all those who are listening and participating. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, GL Chapter 30A, Section 18, and the Governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place, the meeting of the Water and Sewer Commission will be conducted via remote participation. Members of the public who wish to watch and listen to the meeting may do so in the following manner. WCTV. No in-person attendance. Members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. Members of the public who wish to listen to this meeting while in progress may also do so via telephone by dialing area code 312-626-6799 and entering meeting ID 814-5498-9780, then press pound and press pound again at the next voice prompt. Members of the public attending this meeting virtually will be allowed to make comments if they wish to do so during the portion of the hearing designated for public comment by following the steps previously noted, then press 9 on their telephone keypad. This will notify the meeting host that the caller wishes to speak. All callers using this feature will be placed in queue in the order they entered the prompt. In the event that despite our best efforts, we are not able to provide real-time access, we will post a record of this meeting on the town's website as soon as we are able. And that ends the announcement for the meeting of the Water and Sewer Commission, July 16, 2020. First item on the agenda is the approval of minutes for June 18th, 2020.
I reviewed them. I don't have any edits. I would move that we vote to accept the minutes of June 18th, 2020. Yep.
Second.
That's unanimous. Moving on, the second item of the agenda, billing and adjustments and corrections. Do we have any billing adjustments or corrections, Diane?
We do not.
We do not. Well, then we need not vote or do anything further on that. So we'll move on to item number 3 on the agenda is the monthly report for June 2020.
So it looks like we bought more water from MWRA this month, Joe?
Yeah, we did. That's a result of, if you recall, I mentioned last month, due to the staggering of our schedule at the treatment plants, we were shutting down 1 day a week because of we're trying to isolate the staff from working together during the COVID situation. So we ended up purchasing more MWRA water than we typically would in call it a normal year.
Yeah. Year to date, we're running pretty close to last year for total anyways, aren't we?
We're not that far off overall. We started off the year really not taking much at all, and just with the jump due to the virus situation, that's led us to kind of catch up to where we were before last year.
Okay, that being said, any other questions or concerns about the monthly report?
I'm fine.
George?
Nope, I have nothing further.
All right. Okay, item number 4 is 2020 annual town meeting. Are you looking for a report?
That was just a little recap of the 2 votes that took place on that day. Joe, you're very familiar with one of them. You read off the second one, actually, which was Article 53. Just to recap, that vote now allows the town manager to sign leases for the Nassau Ave water storage tank. As I've told you multiple times recently, there are 3 telecom providers who rent space from the town. This is more of a housekeeping vote that, like I said, just allows the town manager to sign contracts for longer than 3 years. And the second article that was voted on at town meeting was to see if the town would vote to transfer money from what we have an MTBE account. And that was to fund a portion of the Salem Street well field replacement project. And as you're aware, both votes were passed without problem. And so we're moving forward with that. On that account, I spoke with Kleinfelder, our consultant, yesterday to go over a little bit of what's going on with that project. The next step for the Salem Street well field is to submit a request to the DEP that outlines what the project entails. And that submittal will be done, we anticipate, tomorrow. And then we'll wait to hear from the DEP with any comments they may have. So that was really the extent of that item on the agenda. Just a short recap on the 2 votes that occurred at town meeting relative to what we do.
You know, I love town meetings. Towns are the most basic democratic system that we have. Everything started from towns. But I do have a question. Is there any way I can put in for compensation for pain and suffering? Because that was just torture.
I don't think you're alone, Joe.
Well, if they had a town meeting suggestion box, I could write about 20 pages. But unfortunately, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm forbidden from doing it anymore. You realize that.
That's okay.
My wife has cut me off completely. All right. That being said,
Before we get off that, Joe, so the town also voted to upgrade the telecommunications system for public works, fire, police, and everything else. Are they going to put new antennas on the Nassau Ave tank and our other tanks? Is that
not as far as I know, not the other tanks. The other 2 tanks, the other 2 do not have any equipment on them relative to telecom. However, Nassau Avenue does have certainly a police repeater antenna up there, so I would imagine that would be part of anything they do going forward.
Yeah, it sounds like they're going to upgrade a lot of it, so they'll probably have new antennas going up there.
Yep.
Okay. Yep.
okay. That being said, we'll move on to item number 5 on the agenda is the Ballard Vale Water Storage Tank Rehabilitation Project, and this is an update.
Yeah, this will be the final update for this project. Since the last meeting, this project's been completed. We had a final walkthrough with the tank company yesterday, actually. All looks good. The exterior paint job came out really nice. The safety improvements look great. Really no complaints so far. As you recall, this tank was built in the late 1980s. It's a concrete tank, and it hasn't been rehabbed since it was initially built. But it looks really nice. Good job done all around. The budget, if you recall, was $225,000, and the final price with one change order is around $183,000. So it came in under budget, and really everything went well.
Okay, great. Wonderful. We're 100% on things going well, which is wonderful. All right. The next item on the agenda is the 2020 hydrant maintenance. So hydrants, Joe?
Yeah, so we had the entire water division over the past, say, month and a half or so has gone through and operated every single one of the 1,260 town-owned fire hydrants throughout Wilmington. As a result, we found that there were maybe half a dozen or so, I think there were 14 to be exact, hydrants that didn't operate as they should, which overall is not that bad. So what we've done since we finished the completion of the inspections is all 14 have been replaced. So as of today, every single fire hydrant in the town of Wilmington is operable that's owned by the town of Wilmington. And throughout the process, we've been communicating with the fire department, letting them know which hydrants were not operable and which ones became operable after they were repaired or replaced. So that's really the extent of that.
Wonderful. Any comments? Ask questions? No? All right. We'll move on to item number 7, 2020 lead and copper sampling results.
Yeah, this is an item that comes up every couple of years or so. So this is an EPA program that was instituted back in the 1991, actually, due to the potential health effects of lead and copper in drinking water. So this regulation is known as the lead and copper rule. We work in combination with the DEP also, in addition to EPA. And to comply with this regulation, Wilmington's required to take 30 samples from homes and 2 samples from schools. With the schools being shut down due to the virus situation, we're unable to take any samples from the schools, as you would imagine. So the DEP has allowed us to kind of hold off on the school samples for the time being, and then take the samples when the schools do reopen. So we anticipate taking those in the fall. The 30 samples that we took from residences around town, safe to say, we're actually happy to say that none of the 30 came back over the action level. So I guess, unlike other towns, Wilmington was fortunate that we never had lead services in the town of Wilmington. Many of the surrounding towns, especially older communities, initially had lead services, and they've had to undertake programs where those lead services would have to be replaced. But like I said, fortunately, Wilmington is not one of those communities, and we've been lucky over the years. And like I said, all the 30 residential samples came back below the action level. So we're good for this year. The next scheduled sampling round is not till 3 years out. And then we're in good shape until then. We remain in compliant.
Wonderful. You got good water. All right. Moving on. Item 8 on the agenda is 20 Freeport Drive water meter. And in the interest of being transparent, I need to disclose that we, meaning Mr. Levita and Mr. Allen and myself, communicated by email regarding this item before the meeting. The issue is that Mr. Allen and Mr. Levita know the owner and have associations with the family that resides at 24 Freeport Drive. They appropriately informed me that they both wish to abstain from a vote, which is going to be needed on this item. Unfortunately, if they both abstain from a vote, there will not be a quorum to vote. My suggestion is, in the interest of reviewing this item for a vote, that Mr. Levita and Mr. Allen disclose their associations with the family or the owner of the property, and be completely, as much as they possibly can, transparent with the commission. And then I will just ask them whether or not they feel that they can review and vote on this item in the interest of the town and in the interest of the commission, and not in the interest of any feelings they may have. So, George, if you would, as clearly and succinctly as you possibly can, could you identify the issue that you feel has some ethical concerns for you?
Yes, I know Ann Caridio and the family. Known for many years. However, that being said, I think I and the rest of this commission can address this issue fairly and vote on it fairly, as we always have. We always work with the consumer to come up with a fair resolution, and I believe we will do that in this case.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. Mr. Levita.
I live around the corner from Ann Caridio. I've known her since I lived here. She is also a very close friend of my brother, who she graduated high school with, and we're all both from the same city in Everett. Not that I would feel uncomfortable voting, but I just think that because of the association, I would feel more comfortable not voting.
So you still wish to abstain?
Yes, I do.
Mr. Allen, do you feel comfortable going forward with 2 members? We can vote.
I do.
Okay. That being said, we'll move on to item number 8, 24 Freeport Drive, water meter. Joe, could you give us a breakdown on the issue? I've read the paperwork, but if you could.
Sure. So this one is looks like it appears to be an issue of a faulty meter. Unlike most faulty meters, this meter was actually jumping forward. Most times, if there is going to be a problem with the meter, it doesn't over-record, but this one was the anomaly, let's call it. So this homeowner was charged a pretty large sum of money for water that was inaccurately read. So it was flagged by the billing department as being unusual. We checked it out with our staff, and that's when it was identified that the meter was jumping forward. So we've since gone in and we've replaced the register on the meter and rechecked it, and all is running smoothly now. There's no skipping, there's no jumping, so it's running as it should be. So I guess seeing it's a new meter, it's tough to compare the history of the bill, so to speak. So I guess there's a couple different options that you guys need to really take a look at. Is do we look back and take a look at our history, not knowing whether or not that meter was effective the whole time, or do we monitor this account for, say, the next year or so, whatever time that you determine to be relevant, and then I guess appropriately charge based off the usage of the new meter that we know is reading accurately.
There's also an indication in the materials that in 2018, the homeowner had a pool liner with a tier, and they were continuously filling the pool, which has now been closed. That's a consideration that should be taken into account. However, I do not see that in 2018 there appears to be any great jump in usage, at least as far as charges are concerned, on the materials that I have. Any comments, Bob, George?
So Joe, going back on, we have the printout here of the history of all the readings. So if we went back over the last few years for the same period, they look fairly similar. It looks like from the numbers I have here, they seem to be around 6,000 for that period. Seems to be about 6,000 cubic feet. Would it make sense to use past averages, or are we concerned that this meter has been faulty from the get-go?
Well, we just truly don't know. There's no way to tell. We do know, as Joe Bolero mentioned, that there was a pool in place at the time. That pool is no longer there. Hasn't been since, I believe, that 2018 year. So I don't know if that you want to take that into account too. That's the decision that it's up to you guys. I will go along with whatever you want to do.
How does that impact the current reading, the pool problem?
Just a small amount that you would use to fill the pool.
Yeah.
Well, I think if we reflect on the charges from 2009 to 2020, I think you see with some regularity
Right.
a double figure charge, and then a 3-figure charge, and then 2 double-figure charges, a couple of 3-figure charges, 3 double-figure charges. So it looks like the triple-digit charges, I'm talking about in the hundreds, 411, 222, 316, 251, 355, 270, 517, there's a regularity in the pattern of usage that is inconsistent with the August billing cycle usage and charge of $1,028.63, taking in consideration that the meter was in error and needed to be replaced. I think we certainly have enough to consider granting a reduction, but we would have to decide on what that reduction is. And I actually don't see an abatement request anywhere in the paperwork. Is there a reason for that, Joe?
We did not receive an abatement request. Diane, right? Jump in if I'm wrong here. This was brought to our attention, and we just agreed to kind of bring it to your attention, and we weren't sure how this would end up, so wanted to bring it to light now. So I guess here we are.
Yeah.
I think. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and it seems to me, Joe, following up on the point you made about regularity in the meter readings, and yes, the summer readings obviously went up, and then there's also consistency in the like in the winter readings in terms of going down. So that seems to be pretty regular. So it almost looks like prior to the problem with the pool back in 18. Then all the readings seem to be high from there. So, maybe a fair way to do it is to take, before the problem with the pool and whether they got excessive, flow through the meter that created the problem. What if we took for the previous 2 or 3 years, we took the readings for that period and averaged them out and charged them for and used that number as a representative number for the period this year?
I have no trouble with your methodology. My problem is with the process. And I think given the sensitivities that people might feel with your association and Bob's association, I think we need to follow the process directly. So it is my opinion that in order to provide and or vote on an abatement has to be requested. On this paperwork, we can't take action. We can hold in abeyance collection, pending an abatement if we're assured that an abatement is going to be requested, but we have to go through the process as it's been designed and enforced in the past with everybody else. I don't want to.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was not saying we shouldn't follow the process. We definitely have to do that. So we notify the homeowner to submit an abatement request, and then we will act at the next meeting and come up with a fair number. And I think we can do that.
And I will entertain a motion to hold an abeyance collection of $1,028.63, and to, as we have customarily in the past, hold off on any interest and penalties until the next meeting. At such time, we'll expect an abatement request and we can reconsider it.
Yeah, I would make a motion that we advise the homeowner to submit a request, and we will for an abatement, and we will take it up at the next meeting.
And are you proposing by motion that we hold in abeyance the current charge for non-collection and interest?
Yes, we'll hold that in abeyance. Oh, yes.
Voted. Okay. Moving on, item number 9 on the agenda is other business.
I don't have any. No, there's no other business for this meeting.
George, any other business?
I have a question. Joe, did we have that bid opening on July 15th, not sewer rehab bid?
We did. We had it yesterday. Yeah, we received 5 bids. We're still reviewing them with Arcadis right now. But the low bid was submitted by In Situ Form, and then there were a few other bids. National Water Main submitted a bid, Kenyon main replacement out of New York submitted a bid. I had not heard of them, but as we speak, we're reviewing it with Arcadis.
How do the prices look versus budget?
Pretty good, pretty good. We
All right.
they're under
Good.
budget. They're under budget, but I don't want to
Good.
say. Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Levita, do you have anything that you'd like to raise?
I am fine.
All right. That being said, we'll move on to item number 10, which is the public comment period. Diane, do you have anybody in queue?
I have the queue and there's nobody here.
Okay. With no public comment, we'll move on to item number 11 in the agenda, which is the next meeting, August 20th, 2020. Do any of the members of the commission have a problem with August 20th, 2020?
August 20th is fine with me.
That's fine with me also.
As it is for me. That being said, we'll move on to item number 12, which is Matt's motion.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Voted. Thank you all for attending by Zoom.
Thanks, guys.